So tell me, Steve, when did you start watching MotoGP?
As far as I can remember, 1999.
Oh, okay. 1999. So this is the second time you've seen Suzuki take a Riders' Championship.
Yes.
Okay. This is literally the first time I've ever seen a manufacturer that isn't Honda or Yamaha take a title. So it's been quite a profound weekend for me.
Quite an emotional one for you as well, then.
Yeah, I very much enjoyed it. It feels like we've been discussing this a lot recently, and it's just felt like a true changing of the guard now.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I can just remember Kenny Roberts Jr. winning the title. I was in that crossover stage between like Superbikes or World Superbikes and GP. I couldn't decide on Sunday which one I wanted to watch. So it was a case of like try to watch both, and yeah, I could just about remember it.
And were they both like? So I might be showing my I say showing my age. I mean showing my youth a little here. But were they both on like terrestrial TV?
Yeah, as far as I can remember, they were on Eurosport back then.
Wow.
As far as I can remember, definitely MotoGP was on Eurosport. I can't fully remember where I was watching Superbikes. That could have been Eurosport as well.
Okay.
I can remember. No, one of them was on like terrestrial telly.
Just like Channel 5 at midnight or something.
No, I think they were showing during the day.
Okay. Although World Superbikes was super popular because was that a Fogarty era?
That was Foggy, Keeley, Bayliss, Colin. I can remember Colin Edwards riding on the Castrol VTR Honda.
Okay, so that certainly would have been a time where World Superbikes was super popular in the UK, wasn't it?
Yeah, but then saying that as well, I can always remember watching the GP. One of the local pubs used to watch it, have it on the telly there, and they never had Sky or anything.
Okay.
So I have to look it up. I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember. Look it up. I can't fully remember. I just remember watching it. I never paid for the telly bill back then, so
Fair enough.
yeah, I didn't really care. Now I'm like, no, that cost too much, but we're having it anyway because the bikes are on there.
Yeah, fair. I can't blame you for that, mate. I can't blame you for that at all.
That basically governs what we watch in our house. She has Sky Sports and I have BT Sport.
Fair enough. And I just leech off your BT Sport generally.
Basically, I did have to change the password the other day. Well, was it a few weeks back because I went to watch it and there's too many people already watching it.
So I just text you, Steve, you changed the password.
I had to do a cheeky log out. I was like, someone's going to be able to log out in a minute. Doof. And I managed to get in. I was like, right. Didn't I send you the message saying I'd like change the password or something?
I mean, it was after I was super cheeky and just asked you. I'm like, did you change the password? If you did, can I have the new one, please?
People like yourself, I don't mind. You can have it by all means. I don't know how these other people have got it. I think I gave it to one bloke when he was like off work sick or something. I was like, you watch this.
Oh, there you go. See, you've been a nice person. That's the problem.
I have been. I'm that person. Like everyone goes, who pays the Netflix bill? That is me.
See, I'm going to set a precedent here and say that I actually use my brother's Netflix account as well.
Yeah.
So I really don't pay for many of these subscription services.
We have quite a few because we've got kids as well. We have like Disney Plus for the movies. What else do we have? Netflix. Loads of telly stuff. Really annoying.
Just bills everywhere.
Yeah, but we never watch any of it. That's the worst thing.
That's even more annoying. Anyway, we're getting very off topic here, Steve.
This wouldn't be our kind of show without a tangent.
No, exactly. We haven't even done the intro music yet. So let's go for it. I'm Tim, he's Steve, and this is For the Love of MotoGP. So we saw, Steve, back to the topic at hand. We saw the MotoGP World Champion crowned this weekend.
We did, mate, and I was so glad it was Mr. Mir.
I'm very happy for Mir, don't get me wrong, and I was certainly rooting for him. Still a bit annoyed it happened this weekend and not next weekend, though.
Yeah, I was sitting there thinking, something happened. Let's take this to Portimao. Let's have a thriller where we're on a neutral track. No one's been there. You've all got to learn it. We're going to duff it out. But at the same time, I was so glad for Mir and Suzuki that they wrapped it up this weekend.
Yeah, certainly. I don't think anyone actually wanted to go. As fans, we really wanted to see it, but none of the guys involved, especially not the person leading, they didn't want to go into Portimao fighting for a title.
None of them do. They want to get the first race of the season. Yet, bang, won the title. Whew, thank God for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Pressure's off. Let's enjoy the rest of this and show you what I can do. There's no pressure. Us as fans, we're like, we want a thriller, mate. We want you to be riding your balls off.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But I think, Steve, we are going to get two thrillers, in fact. Thrillers, in fact, in Moto2 and Moto3.
Oh, we absolutely are. This is going to be insane.
It really is. Moto3, there's 3 riders within 25 points going into the final round. Realistically, only 2 of those are going to be able to fight for the title. But Arbolino, I think, is 20 odd points back or something.
Yeah, something along that line now. Chopped and changed quite a bit during the race as well, didn't it? Dicing so much.
Yeah, it did. But like, it was quite a weird fight because it seemed like Albert Arenas was fighting with 2 guys that weren't involved in the title at all. Arbolino was fighting at the front with a couple of guys that weren't really involved in the title fight at all, and then Ayagura was fighting with 3 guys like further back that weren't involved in the title fight. So like the 3 protagonists for the title were all involved in proper scraps, but not with each other at all.
No, see, I'd be getting really annoyed with that. I know it's a race, and these guys are going to want to beat you, whatever. But if you're not at that point, what point does like, I'm in a title scrap here, leave me alone, kick it? But it's a race. If you're going to race.
That's the thing, isn't it? And I only actually see that if it's your teammate or if you're particularly good friends with someone off track. Then I could see it. Like they'd be like, "Come on, mate, don't be a dick. Help me out here."
Throw us a bone here, son.
Yeah, and I think we saw that in Moto2 actually with Lucy. Moto2 where we've got 4 riders going into the final round that could still win the title. But we saw Sam Lowe's teammate essentially move out of the way and just let him pass and not fight him. Well, Sam was on his recovery ride. But yes, I think Moto2 is going to be the proper thriller, mate. I cannot wait. Moto2 is the race to watch this weekend.
Absolutely. It's going to be fantastic. I'm going to have to book the telly the whole day.
Yeah.
Normally, I have to do battle with Peppa Pig. But this one, Danny's going to put his foot down.
Yeah, it's going to be... I'm definitely going to just sit and watch it all day. I've just finished a load of writing projects. Cherie has just finished a load of writing projects as well. So
she's going to watch it with you?
She's definitely not going to watch it with me. But if she's finished all of her work, it means that I've got nothing to edit and proofread for her, which is pretty good. So she'll probably just spend the day like yoga in and reading and just chilling, and I can spend the day drinking and watching MotoGP.
Sounds like a good day. I won't be able to do the drinking bit, but I could definitely watch the MotoGP.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's 75% of the enjoyment of the day, so you're getting around to the important bit.
Yeah, I might put some tea on.
Okay, fucking mental.
I am going big guns here, mate. I'm having a beer tonight, actually, for the first time I'm recording in ages, because Sarah's home and pretty good, so...
Good stuff. So you're allowed to drink. I'm on the Stivvies sticky toffee pudding vodka liqueur today.
This is becoming like, what is Tim drinking this week, Joe?
You wait till next week, mate. I've got some potent stuff lined up ready.
Ooh, we got some homebrew.
No, it's not homebrew. It's Arak. It's called. And this bottle came from Israel, so I've got to get it in the freezer because you can only drink it once it's been in the freezer. I've been reliably informed, and it goes very cloudy and strange, and then you just do shots of it.
Nice.
But that'll be me for next week, so that'll be me tripping over my words by probably 3 minutes in at that point.
It's going to be a grand show.
Yeah, it will be. It'll probably be less tangents than this one, though. So let's
keep going.
Dive into the news a bit more, shall we?
Yes.
Cal Crutchlow is confirmed as not racing next year.
Yes. He is hanging up his racing leathers.
Yep.
Which not fully.
Exactly.
Not fully. He is going to be the Yamaha test rider, which I'm quite glad about in a way, because it would have been a shame to see him completely drop away. So we know he's still going to be in or around the paddock at some point. I don't know whether he's got clauses as like for some wild cards or stand-ins.
He's definitely got stand-ins if any of the 4 Yamaha riders go injured. And he has been talking about wildcards. He said they're not his priority, but if the situation arises or opportunity arises, he will definitely take it. And I think Yamaha would be silly not to run him in at least. How many races can they run a wildcard? Is it 3?
3. I was then about to say 3. That's the number I had in my head. It's 3 or 4. It's not many, but
yeah. So I think they'd be silly not to run him.
Yeah, give him a crack out 'cause we know he's a good rider and he did well at Tech 3.
Yeah, he certainly did. I mean, he scored podiums on the Tech 3. He came pretty close to wins. He had the odd pole position. So,
Yeah, different machine back then, but you know, he knows it. He knows the people, knows the bike, so he'll do well.
yeah, he'll certainly do well, I'm sure. And Yamaha have got a big advantage because he's been a Ducati factory rider. He's been an HRC contracted rider and like their
Yes.
test rider for HRC. He's got a lot of knowledge. He brings a lot of knowledge from the other factories, and he brings knowledge of how Marc Marquez rides from other factories.
That is going to be the key thing. I mean, that was said to us once before that he is a cracking test rider. You know, I think it was Fabio said, if you give parts to Mark, he'll make it work. If you give parts to Cal, he'll give you the whole picture.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll give you both sides of that envelope, and that's what you need.
Yeah, that's exactly what you need. And you need someone that's gobby like Cal is as well to be able to quite happily just say to to the engineers, like, look, guys, this is crap, and this is how we fix it. I mean, that's how he's managed it at Honda. He ingratiated himself with HRC by just telling them that their bike was crap, and here was how they needed to fix it.
Yeah, exactly. He'll do well in that role, I believe. It's just good to see him continuing to ride, and he's going to probably end up doing a lot more laps of circuits than he does now. You know, because these guys are going to want race simulations, one after the other, knocked out. He's going to be doing a lot of laps.
Yeah, that's the thing. The only thing is, obviously, they don't have any concessions, so they can only run him at specific tests and things.
Yeah. But still good to see him employed in the GP paddock.
Yes, certainly. And before we dive into talk about the race, Steve, I have a quick correction to make after my rant last week about Yamaha's cheating and things. Their lawyers, no, their lawyers haven't been on the phone to me at all.
I got a little sweaty there. I was like, what?
No. So I looked into it a bit more after I sort of went off on one. And they definitely cheated. I'm not saying they didn't cheat, but I kind of ranted in the wrong way. So it turns out that the valves they had in their engines for the first engines of the year, so the Jerez engines,
Yep.
those were the illegal valves. And they weren't illegal for design. They were exactly the same design as the normal valves, but they'd been made by a different manufacturer, and they were a slightly different metal compound alloy, I guess.
Yeah.
A different metal alloy. And they hadn't got these valves cleared with the FIM and Dorna, blah, blah, blah. So they realised their mistake. They were also the ones that just kept killing the engines. So when they put in their request to open their engines up and change the valves, they all of a sudden realised, oh, shit, now we're going to have to tell everyone we fucked up. And I don't think they even realised they'd fucked up. And that would be why they went, no, it's okay, we fixed the problem, we don't need you to look at these valves anymore, and brush them under the table. So
scrap those engines quick.
Yeah, exactly. So every engine they've used since then has been fine and has been legal. But the ones they used then, not so much. But that does mean that Fabio got 50 of his points this year from those wins with illegal parts.
But it's done now. He didn't win the title anyway, so...
No, it's very true. Yeah, that's fair. But yes, I just thought I should probably just clarify.
Clear the air.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, Yamaha, please don't fire me. If you want to still give me a job, that would be great.
He makes a cracking cup of tea.
Right, shall we dive into the race?
Let's go for it.
Okay. What did you think of the race overall?
I didn't think it was great. It had its moments. It had a lot of moments, but it also had far more dull patches.
Yeah.
When I say patches, I mean 10 laps patches.
Yeah, I mean, the first few laps were fun, and then it got a bit shit, and then it started to liven up again, and then Nakagami crashed, and it got a bit shit again, and then it was a bit exciting for like the last 2 laps.
Yeah. It was enough, like it always is, it's enough to keep you enthralled, but it's not the kind of racing that we would like to see. Because there was a lot of follow your leader, very thoughtful, conservative racing.
Very Valencia racing.
Yeah, it is. Valencia, if you hear what everyone says about Valencia, it's a very small track, hard to overtake on. Not many of the riders actually enjoy riding here.
Yeah.
And it although we want to see every race end here, we want to see it in here in terms of the championship being decided.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want a thriller of a race,
Valencia is not the one.
No, this is not a track you would pick. If you wanted to have one track, you could have one race on, balls for the wall, go for it. You wouldn't pick Valencia.
No, I mean, I'd
Not
pick
at all.
Phillip Island every time.
I would, Phillip Island or Laguna if we still went there.
Oh, Laguna, yeah, that's fair. I've said it before on the show, and I'll probably say it again, but I'm quite a big proponent in losing one of the Spanish rounds. I think having 4 rounds in Spain generally is a bit excessive anyway. I understand Dorna are Spanish. I understand obviously Repsol are Spanish. A lot of riders are Spanish, and the Spanish market is huge, so it does make financial sense. But we're getting too many rounds now, in my opinion, and I think Valencia should be the one to go.
Yeah, I think it's been on the calendar for a long, long time.
Yeah.
If you look at it in that kind of terms, there are a lot of countries now that want to break into hosting the MotoGP. There's a lot of countries out there developing their racing infrastructure, and MotoGP is a massive, massive draw. So there is opportunities out there for Dorna to look at other countries and think, right, we could go racing here. And, I'd have to agree with you. I'd drop Valencia.
Yeah.
And let one of these new countries that are willing to put money on the line, give them a shot. Give them a shot.
Yeah, certainly. I think we need to lose a few European rounds, really. I do think that there are a few too many races a season. I'm very much a big fan of a 16-race season because it just leaves me wanting more, but it's still enough that I feel pretty satisfied that it's been a good use of my time to get involved. It's not like watching Formula E, for example, which, don't get me wrong, I really enjoy, but there's only 10 rounds a year, and that feels really short, and there's it's not as good. So 16 rounds for me is the optimum, I think.
Yeah, I'd say 16, right? You need to find that happy balance where it just leaves you wanting more at the end of the season and very, very disappointed that you've then got to wait till mid-March to get the next race.
Yeah, because this year has shown me this, actually, that with Formula One being mental with the amount of races they've been running, with the triple headers and stuff, and obviously all the triple headers we've had with MotoGP. And now MotoGP is normally nearly over. Formula One's not over for at least another 3 or 4 weeks. But I'm actually quite looking forward to having an off-season with no racing because it's just been so intense.
I know, there's been a lot going on in Formula One. I haven't watched much of it.
Oh, it's been fun. It's just been fun. It's nothing special.
There's been a lot of compact race series this year.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's been one of the first years where I haven't been looking at next year already because we've had so much going on.
Yeah.
But I know as soon as we get this weekend out of the way, there'll be a little tear that we haven't got around next weekend.
Oh, there certainly will be. There certainly will be. And I will be sad when it happens. I don't think I will. I think after it happens, I'll be like, okay, a few weeks off now, just chill. And I mean, I haven't spoken to you about this, but I've planned a load of shows. And I do have ideas and things coming forward. So we will still be recording if you're okay with that, and still releasing probably weekly shows throughout the off season.
I've got a load of stuff in my head to mention to you as well. So
yeah, okay, cool. So that's all good. So we will be doing a load of shows throughout the off season so we'll still be talking a lot of racing, but I am quite looking forward to just chilling for a few weeks, and then I know that I'm going to start getting some serious cravings. To answer a question we had last week, actually, there is no Valencia test this year. So
yes, the first one's
it'd be the February test.
Yeah, mid-Feb, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. I can't remember exactly where now.
It was actually, they were talking about it on BT Sport at the weekend because someone on Twitter asked them the question, and I thought to myself, must remember that, and I haven't.
Oh, okay. All right,
talk
cool.
about then.
So we'll find out, but we know there's no Valencia test.
No.
But yes, so I think as soon as it's over and there's not a test, I'm going to be a bit confused. But
yeah, I always look forward to that because the first one's televised as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I really like it normally. And we'll sit down. We get, even after the season's over, you get 2 or 3 days of bikes around the tracks. And the fun thing about the Valencia test every year is that you get to see everyone in their new colours, or not in their new colours, but on their new bikes. Yeah,
on the new bikes. We always see Lorenzo where he had that cracking livery and leathers. It was just black and red.
Oh, that was so
on
good.
A Honda. And I got really excited because if he runs these colours, that is insane.
Yeah, and
Um,
I remember Iannone having a really sick when he moved to Aprilia. I think it was like just white and yellow leathers
yeah,
in the bike, and just like the adrenaline, the chemical compound for adrenaline all over him as well, like on his helmet.
yeah, just looks cracking. I love it. That is one of the best tests of the year.
Yeah,
It's just that little snippet of what could happen next year.
yeah, that's
You get to
exactly it.
see it. It's like a massive carrot on a stick, and then they leave us for months.
Yeah, exactly. But this year it's going to be Portimao across the line, done.
Yeah, see it. And we've seen how quick these guys can get out of the paddock. It's like, yep, gone.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. See it. Right, let's just dive in, shall we? Same as
Let's go
usual.
for it.
Aprilia.
Oh,
I haven't put these in a very good order, Steve. So we're going to do it a bit by the seat of our pants, okay?
let's fly it.
But Aprilia is the one anyway. Big quick through Aprilia. Lorenzo Savadori qualified 21st, raced to 18th. Pretty much what I expected from him.
Yeah,
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 that's
exactly the same here. If he'd have been any higher or qualified better, I'd have been like, hello.
yeah, exactly. And he didn't finish the race last week, so he's improved.
No.
He's finished the race, so happy days.
Crack in.
Aleix Espargaro had a good weekend. Qualified 7th, finished 9th.
He did have a very good weekend, and it goes to show. Like again, they spoke about the Aprilia on BT Sport. Across one lap, that bike is amazing. Can put in a real good qualifying time. It's just the race. They lack in that bit in the race.
Yes, they certainly are.
So make notes, Aprilia. Get a decent test rider in there, because one of them's now out of a job. Sign him up and get on with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel for Aprilia as well. I think that I would really like to see a proven race winner on that bike. Because when they have a good weekend, we have seen it that Espargaro can do pretty well, and he can
do
sort
really
of
well.
pull a result out of the bag. But his teammate never really can. But then his teammates over the last few years, you would say, have been a bit no, because Iannone you'd probably argue was just as good as, if not better.
Yeah, I think it's just time to get used to that bike.
Yeah, it's true. The peaks of the height of the bike seem pretty good, to be fair. Because I was just thinking, Iannone, we saw him running in like, well, I mean, he was leading the race, I believe, in Phillip Island last year on Aprilia. And he was certainly running inside the top 5 for most of the race. And we've seen it with Espargaro. He's managed to put it in like 4th before and score some pretty good results. So when they are performing, they do perform well. They just can't do it often.
It's just not consistent at all.
No.
We talk about consistency a lot and like highs and lows, but these guys, it seems like they need a lot more effort than everyone else just to get one high a year. It's almost like they've got a blunted pipe and they just can't, pull through it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's weird, but
it's a very odd setup.
It's sort of like the learning curve that you'd expect, though, is you expect the factory to come in and do this. And I think KTM have been, and Suzuki actually for that matter, have been a pretty shining example of this. Is they come in, they build a bike that's a bit shit, a bit inconsistent, but they work at it over time. All of a sudden, they can perform at one track. They perform well at that track, but pretty shit everywhere else. And then they have a bike that can perform at 30% of the tracks, but pretty badly elsewhere. And slowly it builds, and it builds, and it builds. And all of a sudden, you end up in a situation like this year where you've got 2 KTM victories and a Suzuki World Championship.
Exactly. There's a lot to be learnt from that, I think. We've said it before. I think Aprilia just need to have a big sit down in this off season. Get themselves, like you say, a proven race-winning developer, test rider.
Yeah, and maybe they will. Maybe Lorenzo, like we were talking about last week.
I think they've got to. I think they've now this has happened this weekend, and Cal has been confirmed as their test rider. I think it leaves no option. I think they'd be absolutely insane now if they did not pursue that.
Yeah.
Obviously, he'd ask for some big bucks. Aprilia is not a massive factory at all. It's got a weird setup behind, the doors. Just chuck money at him. Just do it. Because if you want to start improving, I mean, I can't remember how many seasons they've been in the GP paddock now, 5, 6.
Well, it's longer than both KTM and Suzuki, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, Suzuki came back in 2014.
Okay, and KTM, what, a year or two later?
2
years later?
Following year, 1 or 2 years later anyway. So let's say 2016 for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
That's a long time. And if these guys could do it in a shorter amount of time, questions have to start to be asked.
Yeah, I think they might have started 2017, actually, KTM.
Could well have done, sorry.
But no, I can't remember off the top of my head anyway, and I can't be bothered
No,
to click through and look back for it, to be honest.
no, no. Um,
But yeah,
work to be done.
yes, exactly, work to be done. And like you say, Lorenzo isn't going to be cheap. I did hear, I can't remember where I heard it the other day, but Lorenzo was paid €1 million a year to be Yamaha's test rider. Bearing in mind he rode the bike like 3 times. That's a pretty good daily wage.
I'd be happy with that. I'd be very happy with that. £1 million a year to go out and do something 3 times.
Yeah, exactly. A
as hell.
fucking result.
Yeah, that Lambo, the fuel tank would not go under 3/4 full. There'd be a lot of spangly jackets flying around.
His bloody spangly jackets, man. I
I
cannot.
love his spangly jackets.
They do my nut in. Right, let's move on to
Let's get on
Ducati. Ducati. I mean, aside from Jack Miller, who we'll come on to, Ducati are fuck it. What a weekend, mate! What a terrible, terrible weekend.
I mean, Ian only, Jesus. Dovi finished in 8th, but just had a ghostly weekend.
Yeah.
And the rest of them were the same. We saw, where should we start? Zarco had a DNF.
Yeah, the problem with Zarco is he qualified 4th. Like,
I know.
He looked so good, and it was like, oh, Miller and Zarco are going to carry Ducati this weekend. Happy days.
Aye.
And then, DNF, lap 6, fighting with Rins and Binder. Gone.
Down he goes. And the rest of them were just ghosts.
Yeah.
All weekend, apart from Miller. Circulating. I don't remember seeing Petrucci at all.
No, I remember seeing Petrucci at all. He qualified 15th and scored a point when he finished the race in 15th.
Yeah, Bagnaia. I think we saw the odd shot or 2 of him.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least Bagnaia scored points. That that brings his point scores for the season to 5 races he's scored points in.
Still not great. But
is he the right guy to be on the big red bike next year?
I think a few questions will start to be asked.
Yeah, quite.
They signed him off the back of a good result.
Yeah.
Did they jump the gun?
I am almost convinced they did, yes. But at the same time, what choice did they have?
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I suppose there's Zarco.
Yeah, I mean, well, that was the fight we were talking about, wasn't it, at the time, was will it be Zarco, will it be Bagnaia? And actually now, maybe it would have been better to leave Bagnaia and Pramac for another year and chuck Zarco onto the factory bike on a 1-year deal.
Yeah, but whatever happens, I think their results will be, they can't be much worse than what they've had this year. So, take the gamble.
Yeah.
Give it a go.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair. It's a good job they've got Miller next year, is all I can say.
Yes, that really is their saving grace.
Yeah, he qualified second this race, finished second in the race. Very nearly won the race, man.
Oh, he was so close. That really sort of lit the race up. That little battle for first at the end.
It was a great little scrap. I
awesome.
really enjoyed it, actually. And I can't believe this is the second or third time we've seen Miller in like a last lap battle. And he just hasn't managed to win yet this year. And I feel for him because I'm like, fuck's sake, Jack, you've got one more chance now.
Yeah, it does seem like it's almost doing a Dovi and slipping through his fingers.
Yeah.
It's just that little bit, the Ducati's strong on the jump, but we see him try to overtake people on the flip-flop. And at a track like this where the start-finish line isn't that far down the straight, by the time they get there, the Ducati hasn't boosted enough to use that horsepower.
No, exactly. And he really should have been able to. If it was a track, if this was like Mugello or something,
He'd have been long gone.
He'd have been long gone along that long straight, especially against a Morbidelli whose engines revs have been reduced to try and make the engine survive longer. Like Morbidelli wasn't running at full power, and yet he still had just enough through the corners that he could stop the power of the Ducati on the short straight.
All right, goes to show the weakness between one bike to another.
Yeah, it certainly does. But yeah, I do feel for Miller that he's not managed to win a race this year, but I'm convinced he'll win one next year. So
yeah, get him on that big red bike, get him settled in the team, and I'm sure it'll happen next year.
Yeah,
has to.
Certainly. And obviously, I think Dovi going and taking his sabbatical next year, I think he's going to be very happy to hang his leathers up. And likewise, Petrucci is going to be very happy to be chucking his leathers back at Ducati and making his move to Tech 3.
I think they will both be very happy they're walking out of that garage.
Yeah, they certainly will be.
I don't think there'll be any looks over their shoulder.
No, I don't think there will be at all. I will be very interested to read Dovi's tell-all book that I'm sure will be coming out in the next few years.
Oh God, yes. There normally is a book that follows these guys shortly after they've sort of had a sabbatical, should we say, retirement.
Yeah, exactly.
That'll come out. I suppose we haven't had one for Lorenzo yet.
Well, Lorenzo's trying not to burn his bridges, but Lorenzo is definitely the character that will be releasing a book because his ego tells him he has to. And I will buy it and read it, so his ego is right.
I will buy it and read it. Yeah, I would buy it and read it. To be fair, I'd buy pretty much anything that Batman release because I really like him. But yeah, that would be a good read.
Much like your subscriptions here, Steve, I'll probably wait for you to buy it and read it, and then I'll read your copy.
You just come around and nick it. Where's my book gone? Oh yeah, I borrowed that.
Yeah, borrowed that and didn't give it back. That was 3 years ago.
I've had several books like that actually. I've got a collection like all the Charlie Boorman and Ewan McGregor, all the stuff they've done.
Yeah.
Got a collection of all their books signed by them both.
Yeah.
When we moved, I thought, where the bloody hell are my books? Because they've always been on the bookshelf. You know what I like? I've got a massive bookshelf.
Yeah.
Found them at my mum's. On her bookshelf.
Oh, that's great. Speaking of Charlie Boorman and Ewan McGregor, have you seen Long Way Up?
I started to watch it. Then it occurred to me I really wanted to watch Long Way Down again.
Okay. So I finished Long Way Up, and the last episode was last week, and it was gold. It was really good.
I'm gonna watch it. I like wait. I've thought to myself as well. I'm one of these types of people. I like binging series. I don't like waiting week to week if I get really into it.
Yeah, but because it was Apple TV, I didn't realise that I was gonna have to sit and wait week to week. So I binged like 8 episodes, and I was like, oh fuck, I've got to wait now a week for each of the final 4 episodes. I was pretty annoyed with
Yeah, I was. Now they're done. I'm just gonna watch it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna, I'm here looking after Sarah, so I got some time in the evening. I'm just like, yeah, watch this.
Yeah, that's it. It's certainly worth a watch. Anyway, we've done our tangent thing again, Steve. So I'll tell you what, let's take a quick break and then we'll come back and discuss Honda. So, thanks for waiting and welcome back. Let's discuss Honda. We Cal Crutchlow then. We know Cal Crutchlow's now got 1 race left and then he's done.
Aye.
He's going to Yamaha to be a test rider.
Aye.
What did he do to his hand this weekend?
I have no idea.
No, I missed it. I missed all practice and stuff. I can't remember what I was doing, but it must have been important. So I missed whenever he hurt his hand, but he's smashed it up and he was wearing gloves that were too big for him to accommodate the swelling and stuff.
I saw this. I was like, when did you do that? I mean,
Yeah.
I had free practice and stuff on here in the background while I was doing stuff, but I completely missed it.
Me
like,
too.
No idea.
Yeah, so, okay, well, we don't know anything about that because neither you or I have done our research properly because we're not as good as we claim to be. But that's fine. So, aside from hearing about his hand,
Aye.
he wasn't really on the TV at all, was he? Qualified 13th, finished the race in 13th, which, considering the injury, not bad. But,
Not bad at all.
aside from a brief spat with Rossi, didn't see him at all, man.
No, we really didn't see. He was another grey man on the track.
It's quite a shame that this is his final year, I think, because this is not the year to do him justice. This is a bit like the Danny Pedrosa final year, the Jorge Lorenzo final year. It's just not what such a class rider. And not that I'm putting him on the same level as Pedrosa and Lorenzo, because obviously we're fully aware he's not. But he is a consistent podium threat throughout the year, usually.
Oh, God, yeah.
And yeah, this year's not been the kind of year that he deserved for his final year.
No, not at all. It's been a very funny year, and if you're going to bow out, you would not want to bow out on this year.
No, certainly not.
Not at all. Not at all.
But I can't see him scoring podium next weekend for his final race. So he's had 1 podium this year, but at least he's had a podium, I guess.
Yeah, that's something. Considering the year he's had with injuries,
Yeah,
etc., etc. I think he's done really well overall. I think we ran the risk of really losing him halfway through this season with that arm.
I mean, I think we were talking about at the beginning of the season about how he wasn't going to make it to the end of the season because of his injuries. So, I mean, the fact he's made it this far
He's
on
just
him.
a warrior. We said it before. We could take you two and just make a Terminator.
Well, quite. How many days do you reckon, in a percentage, what percentage of this year has Cal Crutchlow been uninjured for?
None.
A
0.
solid 0%.
I've got. It's not going to be much. It's going to be like 10% or something.
Yeah, it's going to be a really short amount of time.
Yeah. It's not going to be much because that boy is always injured. We know he's a balls to the wall rider. He's not conservative. On or off the track. The only thing he does, he's going to do or die.
Yeah, exactly. And it's what's worked out for him, but also probably means he's going to be very arthritic and bedbound by the time he's 40.
Christ, yeah. That boy's going to be stiff as a board and on a lot of painkillers.
Yeah. Right, let's move on to his teammate then in Taka Nakagami. Nakagami had, once again, so much potential in this race. Looked like he was about to throw away the disappointment of Aragon, and he was going to stand on the podium and be there for Honda, scoring Honda's 3rd podium of the year, and it was all going to be great. And then he fell off.
Yeah. He did a Crutchlow.
He did do a Crutchlow, yeah.
Yeah. How did look? Jesus, start again. How good did he look though?
Honestly, mate,
during that race,
yeah, I thought he was going to be solid 3rd place. And at the time, I didn't realize Miller was going to pick up all this pace and go and chase after the lead. So at the time, I was like, whoa, he might even be fighting for 2nd here. He's so quick. His
pace was insane, and he looked good. He has really, really got to grips with that bike in the last few races.
Yeah.
I just absolutely gutted that he keeps dropping it every time he's in a really good position.
Yeah, and I kind of we need him to get a result so he can get the duck off his back at this point, because I kind of think it's going to start becoming a thing where every time he's in a position, he's going to freak out and crash.
Yeah, and we know these guys are like mega superstitious.
Yeah,
and they will start thinking about that. Every time I get to this position, I drop it. Every time I get to this position, that happens. Like you say, he needs to break that duck. Just let it happen. And then I think we will really see what Taka can do. Once he gets that confidence boost, starts getting a look at everyone else's data again, really getting some analysis going, then I think we will see Indomitsu Honda, LZR, as a real threat.
Yeah, I think you're probably right about that. And I think he's perfectly capable of winning races.
I think
he just has to get the duck off his back and score that result. And then I think he'll be one of those riders that once he's got the result, they'll just come pouring in.
Yeah, they'll just start flowing. And he'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll be happy as hell.
Certainly. So the factory Hondas then. Let's go with Stefan Bradl. Qualified 18th, finished 14th. Actually better than Alex Marquez all weekend.
Yes. Which is quite something.
Yeah, it certainly is. I feel like Bradl's kind of improved a little bit over the last few rounds, but I don't know whether he's actually improved or whether Alex Marquez has just gone off the boil a little bit.
I think it's probably the latter.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden, we saw some cracking races out of Alex Marquez, and everyone was hyping him up, saying, right, he's got to grips with it. And then someone's just turned the gas off, and he's gone off the boil. Be it weather conditions. We have seen some crap weather recently. Lack of data, but I highly doubt it's that.
No, well, he did have a massive high side, didn't he, in qualifying?
Everyone held their breath for that. Jesus.
Yeah, and the way he was stuck and just laying on his arm and he couldn't stand up, I was like, fuck's sake, he's just dislocated his arm. He's done a Marc Marquez. Because that's what it really looked like that, and he just couldn't get up off it. But he did manage to stand in the end, and it was fine. But I don't know what he'd done. I think he just winded himself really badly.
I think they took him off for X-rays just to be sure, because he landed on his coccyx, didn't he?
Yes.
Really landed on his butt, and that I think everyone was really worried that they've given himself coccyx shock.
Yeah.
That you saw him walking back into the pit, like rubbing his back, and like, oh dear, something's going on there.
Yeah, and it's a scary crash like that to land on your coccyx like that, because it's very easy for that force to go up and just cause fractures through your vertebrae and stuff.
Yeah, there's a cracking stat come out from Donisi on Twitter that gave all the G and the time in the air. And he pulled something.
It's from Alpine Stars, but yeah.
That's the one, yeah, Alpine Stars. I can remember which brand he used then. But it was something like he hit the ground with 24 Gs or something.
Bear with me, I can tell you. I've got it in front of me here. Yeah, 23.6 G when he hit the ground.
Insane. And what was the other one? He was in the air for 1.01 seconds or something.
in the air for nearly a second and then travelled across the ground for another 2.3 seconds after the impact.
That's the one. So say nearly a second, but then when you take into consideration that someone said first to 15th in the race were separated by 0.7 seconds.
Oh my God, that's fucking terrifying when you put it that way.
That was a cracking stat. I don't know who put it on Twitter where I saw it. I was like, fucking hell, that is insane. You know, you could have fit 15 bikes underneath him in the time he was in flight.
Oh my God, that's really scary, isn't it? Like a second is a long time to be in the air for. Like I know from having done like cliff jumping and stuff that falling for a second feels like an eternity. But I can't imagine launching myself up into the air from a motorbike and for it being over a second, especially when you didn't know it was going to happen. It must have felt like quick. Forever. Yeah.
And it was quick. I mean, some things like that, you fall over, you fall off your bike as a kid. It's like a flash. It just happens so quickly.
Yeah.
But I think as you get older and in these situations, it does seem to take forever.
Mm-hmm.
Goes the other way. It's like as you get older, time goes quicker. No, it don't when you're flying.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder how far he actually flew through the air as well, distance-wise.
I don't think anyone put that out, but I just love the stats. And the GP Mark guys, they put up some cracking stats.
Yeah, that's scary stuff. But yeah, and there's been a lot of talk as well about his brother, about Marc Marquez, and what's going on there. Obviously, a lot of rumours still flying around. He's got nerve damage. I'm becoming more and more convinced that we're not going to see him come back ever. However, a lot of well-respected journalists, which sadly, Steve, you and I are not, are now reporting that he likely will be back at some point next year. They're saying it's not nerve damage. All the reports seem to be saying that it's the way the bone was damaged. It's just a very long healing process for the bone. But when he's back, he should be back at full strength. It just could take 6 months even from now for him to be at full strength.
Yeah, he will be back. I'm convinced he will be back. And we said it before. My concern is time off the bike. Because we're seeing riders have a lot of time off before and come back, and it takes them a long time to get back into it. But that's not the multiple world champion with the talent that this guy's got. Not doing the other riders any injustice there, but they're just not Marc Marquez. My fear is, I think you said it last podcast out, the mentality and the conservative way he's going to have to then protect that arm. How is that going to affect his riding style, his racing? Because that's always going to be in the back of your mind. It's just going to take that one Marc Marquez super lap where he doesn't save it on his knee, high sides it, and then we're back in this situation again.
Yeah.
He's going to have to think vastly about his riding style. There's going to be a lot of factors to think about, but I'm convinced he'll come back.
Yeah. We'll see. I hope he does come back. But sort of like you, I think I'm not sure he will. But if he does, I'm not sure he's going to come back at all as the same rider he left as.
No, that is my main fear. We're not going to get the Marc Marquez back that we all know and love.
Yeah.
We are going to get Marc Marquez, the broken.
Mark the Broken. That's going to be his Game of Thrones title.
Yeah, that is the one. Not Bran the Broken. Mark the Broken.
Okay, right. Let's move it on. Let's dive into talking about the new world champions, actually.
Suzuki.
Yeah. Yeah, fuck it. We've started now. I was going to change my mind, but we're going for it, Steve. Let's just go with the gut here.
I thought something was. I thought you did another ghost thing. In this little box on my screen, you were like just staring at something.
No, I think I was just staring at my own screen, just a bit confused by life.
I do that all the time, mate. I often find myself looking in the mirror going,
yeah, who's this fella?
Don't recognise you. When did you get grey?
Oh, Steve, it's all right, mate. We'll get you some Just for Men.
I got enough hair to do that. I would have been all right a couple of years ago before I shaved my head, but now, yeah, got enough hair for it, mate.
No,
it's the facial hair. It's not good.
That's okay. You can get Just for Men for the beard.
Can you?
Yeah, my brother, who's actually 6 years younger than me, uses it for his beard because he's got a cracking grey streak straight down the middle.
Nice. I'm going to have to get me some of that.
Yeah, I think they do it in Sainsbury's.
I'll have a look. I'll have a look. But like the last bastion of no grey hair was invaded the other week. You know, the Tash has now got some in.
The last bastion of no grey hair. Oh, mate. I give it another 10 years and I'll be crying and you'll be laughing at me for this. But, you know, at the moment, I'm just going to enjoy it.
I was looking forward to when you got grey dreads.
Yeah, I don't really know how that's going to happen. I'm sure I'll cut them off by then, but that's a different story. We're doing it again.
We're gone off.
Yeah, Suzuki. Right, Suzuki actually, aside from winning the World Championship, didn't have the best weekend, I don't think.
No, they didn't.
Not by their current standards. Both bikes qualified pretty badly. Mir qualified in 12th. Alex Rins qualified 14th, so didn't even get out of Q1.
No. They didn't look good all weekend.
No, but when the race came around, Alex Rins looked pretty good, to be fair.
He did,
4th, but not on the same pace. I mean, actually, he was faster than he was last weekend, but the whole pace had picked up from last weekend.
Everyone had picked it up by something ridiculous, like 0.5, 0.6 of a second or something.
Yeah, per lap, like it was fast.
It was a proper fast race. I mean, we're getting down close to the lap record times.
Yeah.
So everyone had picked it up. So, as a fact, we saw such a spaced out race. But in like Suzuki terms, for what we've seen from them, no, it's not the best weekend. They seem to struggle through qualifying and practice. And again, sort of really one rider kind of saved the day for positioning at the weekend, and one just sort of saved everyone's hopes and dreams at the end of the race.
Yes, indeed. And it was cracking. Like we say, it was a 4th place for Alex Rins, and it was a 7th place for Johan Mir. But that 7th place was enough. It
was, yeah. I mean, we saw the only person who could have challenged him at one point was Morbidelli, and he did all he could. You know, all Mir had to do was ride a very, very sensible race.
Yeah.
And just bring it home. Which is exactly what he did.
That's exactly what he did, yeah. He didn't really get involved. He was a bit fighty at the start, actually, more than I expected him to be. But then just, you know, kind of, I think he just sat back and went, fuck it, I'm not risking it. I can finish 7th or 8th and still win. Doesn't matter.
Exactly. But if you points win prizes, and just bringing it home, every point counts.
That's exactly it. Yeah, especially at this point of the season. What's the point in him wrecking it and going into Portimao, even with a lead? You don't want that. If you could just finish 7th and take the title, take the title.
Yeah. I want to know what mapping 2 is. That come up on his dashboard.
I don't know, but they did this to Rins on the race that he won. It's obviously, I think it's turn the engine down, but it may be, I don't know. I'm sure it must be just turn the engine down a little.
It's got to be. Dial it down a little bit, save the bike, save your fuel or your tyres, and just bring it home.
Yeah.
Exactly what they did.
That's it. Do you think Mir will ride with the number 1 plate next year?
I hope so.
Yeah, it's been a while. When's the last time we saw a number 1 plate in action?
I believe it was the crazy number 1 of Jorge Lorenzo.
It was, wasn't it? So that's the year he won in 2010, so he ran it in 2011.
Yeah. Although it wasn't a full number 1, it was kind of the J and the L sort of mashed into one kind of thing, I believe.
Did Stoner run the 1 in 2012?
Don't believe so.
Okay, I remember him seeing it on his bike, but maybe he just put it on at the end of 2011, like in their celebration, like we saw Mir do.
I think that might be the case. I was trying to remember. I don't think he did run it. I'm sure he had the 27 still. I can't picture it now off the top of my head. No, he might have done. Oh, it's going to bother me now.
Yeah, I can't remember. Hang on, let's have a quick Google, shall we?
Let's have a look. Quick
Casey Stoner 2012 bike.
Either way, I really hope Mir does run the number 1 plate, because I think it's a nice thing for the champ to do.
Yeah, it looks like he did run the number 1.
No, he did run the number 1. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, but yes, I do like it. I like seeing the number 1, and I can understand why people don't run it. I can understand why 46 of Valentino has become such a brand. I sort of see it for Marc Marquez as well. Like the 93 will become a brand equivalent to that of VR47. MM93 will be VR47.
Yeah.
So I can see that. VR46, sorry, not VR47.
I was just going to go with it.
Well, I mean, you need to correct me on these things. Otherwise, people correct me by email, and they're not as nice as you, Steve. They upset me. So yes, in the VR46, so I can see it, but I mean, I don't want to take anything away from Mir, but do I think 36 is going to become like the 46 or the 93? No,
I don't think so. I think for him, if it was me, I'd look at it realistically, and I'd like to think, yeah, I'll be a multiple-time world champion.
But if not, I'd like this chance to win the number on plate.
Yeah, if this is going to be a one-off, slap that number one on my bike.
Yeah,
I want everyone to know I am number one.
Yeah, that's it.
You know, you could still have your 36 slapped somewhere on your leathers or on your bike. Keep that number, because you'll get that number back, win or don't win the championship.
Yeah, that's fair.
You'll always retain that number. That is yours. I'd slap it on there. I'd run it and hold it like a badge of honor.
Yeah, definitely. And if nothing else, it looks really good in all the pictures when you're looking back at it the next year.
Exactly. Look, there's me with my number one plate.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, your bike, I'm not being funny towards anyone else that has run their own number when they've won a championship before, but your bike just looks like your bike from any other year.
Exactly, and I do sort of miss it with like Marc Marquez not taking it. I do miss the fact that there's not a number one.
Yeah, I do. I'd just be like, no, slap it on there.
Yeah.
Let's have it.
Yeah, that's it.
I really did like Mir's helmet design.
Oh, it was nice, wasn't it?
That was awesome. It reminded me of like very Lorenzo-esque, because I didn't realise the crown at the front was all, I think, of Diamantes.
Oh, was it? I didn't even notice.
I didn't until someone put shots of it on Instagram. I was like, oh, that's nice.
Okay, yeah, I didn't even notice that, actually.
Google.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. You know me too well.
There's always a bit of Googling going on. You're lucky your keyboard's quite quiet.
It is on this computer. It's just the internet's being a bit slow today.
Is it?
Yeah. Oh, they haven't got a good picture of his winning. If you a quick Google actually only shows me the one he won for his Moto3 title.
Oh, right, okay.
But it was nice, and it was very similar to the design he's got at the moment. It was just in gold and just had a cool number one on it. Yeah,
it just looked good. I really enjoyed it. For any collectors of replica helmets out there, that'll definitely be on the Christmas list.
Yeah, still not as good as that VR46 Bagnaia championship livery, though, is it?
That was insane.
Yeah.
That was, very, very nice. I haven't actually checked out the Mini Champs website recently to see if they released that as a scale model.
There you go. That's your job for later.
Yeah, well, the job for later is get Brody back to bed, because I can hear him screaming.
Oh, no. That's not ideal.
That sucks.
Can we continue?
We can continue.
Okay, cool. So let's move on to KTM then.
Let's go for it.
KTM, I actually had a pretty good weekend. Actually, a really good weekend. It was just they went about it quite quietly.
They did, yeah. They certainly did.
We saw Licona obviously didn't run again because of the COVID.
Nope.
But Oliveira qualified 10th, Binder qualified 9th, and Paulo Espargaro qualified 5th. And then in that same order, Miguel finished 6th, Binder finished 5th, and Espargaro finished 3rd. So two third places in a row for Paulo Espargaro. Solid, really solid. But I think that was probably his last chance to win on the KTM.
I think so, yes. I think that is now gone. I can't see him on a neutral playing field. I can't see him doing it next weekend.
No, I certainly can't see him doing it.
So yeah, I think that might have been his last chance to win on the KTM. Gone, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think that is quite sad for him, all things considered. But then again, I'm sure he's going to be earning a shitload of money and his new job with Repsol Honda, so let's not be too sad for him here.
Yeah, let's not be sad for any of them, really, because they're all earning a damn sight more than we are and having a cracking time.
That's fair.
Apart from all the COVID tests.
Oh, I'm sure it's fine. It's worth the sacrifice.
Yeah.
So, Brad Binder as well. Brad Binder didn't actually... I picked him for my win, or for the win. But not as good as I expected. Only a little bit faster than last week, actually, which surprised me. I expected him to be much quicker. Yes,
I thought he'd be much, much quicker as well, but he wasn't, like you say, that much quicker. Solid 5th place. Again, look, from what we saw of him, looked racy, looked good.
Yeah, it did look good, and it's fine. I mean, he's still a rookie. Let's not forget.
Exactly.
So.
Well, he's in Rookie of the Season scrap with Alex Marquez.
He's leading it. He's way ahead of Marquez now. I'm pretty sure he's going to win it. Yeah, he'll win that BMW M3 or whatever it is they win.
Lucky buggers. Was it Tizet watches for pole position and M1s for this and that? And I was like, God, I'd be in it just for a car.
Yeah, quite.
I'd be happy with that. And if you're a like multiple pole position person, I mean, you'd have a fleet.
Yeah.
What would you do? You'd have to hire someone to wash them all. I wouldn't want to do
You
that
just
on a
give them
Sunday.
away, wouldn't you? Is what
You
I'd
would
do.
do. You'd give me your team, wouldn't you? After
Yeah.
a while, if you started winning that many, you'd be like, here you go, mate, have a car.
Yeah, exactly. Have a car, have a watch. Yeah, honestly, I've got 50 of the fucks at home. Have this one.
Fucking bored. I've got more than I can wear.
Yeah, exactly.
So I've got 6 on now.
Want to buy a watch?
Oh, look at these. Got them all set to different countries.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Like you get on a war when you're going off. It's Tokyo.
Yeah. Why are all your watches different times? Well, there are different countries, but honestly, I forgot to label them, so I don't actually know which is which.
Currently, it could be 6, it could be 4. Let's put it this way: it's either lunch or dinner time.
Yeah, exactly. And whatever time, it's time to have a beer somewhere. So we're gonna roll with that.
Yeah.
And then anyway, Miguel Oliveira finished the race in 6th. So another quietly good weekend. Didn't really see much of him on TV, but another solid result.
Everyone was so focused on what was happening at the front and the title contenders. Literally everyone else got forgotten about this weekend. Yeah. It was a proper stick with me, stick with Morbidelli, and just show the little battles that they're in. Everyone else at the back, don't worry about them.
Yeah, and that's sort of fair enough because that's the storylines we want, isn't it?
Yeah, that we want to see who's winning the title. We want to see what's going on. Everyone else, point the camera at the right direction.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's the storylines going on. So that's what we want to see. And let's move on to Yamaha then. I put Yamaha last because they won the race, but the more I'm looking at it, and this is what I had my momentary confusion over earlier, is Yamaha certainly were not the best factory of the week.
They were certainly not, no.
So we'll run through them, I guess, in ascending order. So Fabio Quartararo qualified 11th, was still in for the title fight. Started the race, ran on at turn 2, nearly taking out Maverick and Mir.
Yeah, it was very, very close. And
then started having to fight his way back for the back of the pack. Crashed out on lap 9 when racing with the 2 factory Hondas. And that's the end of it, wasn't it? That was the end of his title. What a shocking run, man.
I don't really know what to say about it, really. He looks so good, and everyone was hyping him so much. I mean, this run of form is incredible. His bad luck is almost as bad as mine. It's just, for a racer, he's got to be thinking, let's just get this season done.
Yeah, certainly. I would be if I was him. Like, these last 5 rounds, he scored less than 20 points.
I mean, that's insane.
Isn't it mad? This is the guy that won 2 races on the bounce at the start of the year, and everyone was like, fuck, he's going to run away with the title if Marquez doesn't come back.
Yeah. And I think we even predicted it as well, didn't we? Just a Quartararo, not quite a full bore runaway, but almost a domination by him, just for being so consistent.
Yeah, well, I expected the Dovi Quartararo battle to take place, and it just didn't, because neither one of them could get their shit together.
No, neither could get sorted, neither could keep the tyres on the track. And if they did keep on the track, their results seemed to be so inconsistent, you just couldn't predict where they were.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone wanted them in the dream team when they had a good race, and the next race they were just like, P14.
Yeah, yeah, it really was.
Cheers, lads.
Yeah, it's very hard to predict for the dream teams.
It was, yeah. I'm sure everyone has sorted it out now. Suzuki, Morbidelli, and then Pole.
Yeah, that's the thing. But it's just, I just cannot believe, like I said, I can't believe how bad the end of his season has been at all.
It's been dismal, mate. It's been one to forget.
Yeah. I'm
sure he will take much experience away from this year, and he will be thankful for what he's got. But at this point in time, I'll be like, Sunday can't come quick enough. Let's get this over with. If not, let's get a little bit of the Rona and just have a weekend off.
And aside from Morbidelli, I think all the Yamahas just want to stop and have a weekend off now.
They must do. They absolutely must do.
Valentino Rossi qualifying 16th and finishing the race in 12th.
Fail, mate. Fall from grace.
But it was sort of to be expected, actually. If we look historically at Valentino Rossi over this season, and we look at his on the back-to-back races, he's always performed pretty well on the first one and very badly on the second one. Yes. However, he missed the Friday on the first one at Valencia, so he was already on the back foot.
Yep.
He did pretty badly in it, so he was always going to do badly in the second week.
Right.
So actually, I think that finishing 12th, all things considered, isn't the worst. It's not the worst result he could have asked for, but it is, again, it's a clear example of the changing of the guard in MotoGP at the moment. And when we saw him battling for 13th place with Cal Crutchlow, I was like, oh, wow, 13th, these boys are battling for now. It's a bit like when Nicky Hayden and Colin Edwards were riding around at the back on CRT machines. You're like, oof, it's time to go.
Yeah, it is time to give up. I said it from the start. I was like, I'd retire. I really would. Don't get me wrong. I'm thrilled he's staying at Petronas next year. I just don't, for what he is and what he does for the sport, has done for the sport, you don't want to see him there. You know, and he has said himself, well, he will race as long as he's competitive.
But he's not competitive anymore, is he?
No, that's what I'm saying. 13th isn't competitive.
That said, he did have periods throughout the beginning of the year where he was riding comfortably inside the top 5. So maybe next year he'll jump on the Petronas Yamaha alongside Morbidelli, and maybe the two of them being such bros, they'll just end up just cruising it around and comfortably in the top 5 every race, and then we'll be eating our words.
I hope so. I really hope we are. I really hope this isn't the fall from grace. And you know, the real start of the decline. Yeah.
Speaking of declining, and someone who I'm very much over now, is his current teammate in Maverick Vinales. Qualified 6th. All right, cool. Good from you, Mav. Finished the race in 10th. Within a lap, he was down in 16th.
Exactly. It was just a Maverick start.
It's just, I'm out of words. There's no words to describe it.
No.
It was the typical terrible early laps, picked up the pace towards the end.
Yeah.
Gained some places, just not enough. Yamaha have won 7 races this year, and only one of them has come from Maverick.
That's bad. That's
I mean, none of them have come from Rossi. So out of the 7 wins, only one of them has come from the factory squad this year.
That is, extremely bad. At this point, you've really got to start looking at your stock. And we know they're having a shuffle next year.
Well, he's signed for another 2 years, isn't he?
Rossi?
Oh, no, Vinales.
Vinales, yeah, he has. That's faith. That is so much faith, mate.
Yeah.
And we've seen some proper words coming out of him recently towards Yamaha.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think next year in that Yamaha garage is going to be. There could be a wall like between the riders
and the engineers,
the managers.
Yeah.
Just because there could be so much of a spat. You know, that pout of Lynn Jarvis is going to get huge.
Yeah, and Quadraro has not been favourable about the things he's been saying about Yamaha either.
He has not. No, he has not been holding back. But then we've said it for a long time. The Yamaha has had a lot of problems for a lot of seasons, and I still think it's got a lot of problems, and they're just not addressing them in the right way.
No, that certainly appears to be the case. But again, we've got to look at it as Yamaha have still won 7 races this year. That's more than half the races. Other factories have won a maximum of 2 races this year.
Yeah,
and that's KTM and Ducati, Suzuki. Oh, and Suzuki.
But it's always, if they win a race, all the other riders are just nowhere to be found.
Yeah, it's one rider at the front and the rest like languishing at the back of the top 10.
Yeah, it's just one can make it work at a certain track.
Yeah,
they can't make it work at the next track or the next one or the next one, and then they can make it work again. It's not consistent enough across all platforms.
Yeah, that's it. But the most consistent of them all recently has been Franco Morbidelli.
Yes.
And at this race, he put it on pole and then he won from pole.
Exactly.
It looked initially like it was going to be that Jorge Lorenzo style, go from the front and go. And while I'm very happy, I think we've all had to deal with me fanboying over Morbidelli this year so far. And
I think he's great.
I love the man to bits, as I've been very vocal about. But I think, while I think it's great when he wins, I also saw him pulling a gap, and I was like, oh, fuck, this is going to be boring. But that final scrap, when like Miller pulled the gap back, and it was just like the final lap where they're just chopping and changing. They chopped and changed about 3 or 4 times. They
changed a lot, and that really showed what he could do. He's not afraid to get stuck in.
No, not at all.
And that's what we needed to see from him, a last lap, fight.
Yeah, and I think last week we were discussing this, and I referenced the race he had with Zarco in Moto2. Is it 2016, 2017? I can't remember now. But it was a proper handlebar bashing final lap, and we hadn't seen that from him in MotoGP, but now we have, and now I'm even more convinced in what I was saying before, where I think he will be Yamaha's next champion.
Yes, absolutely. I'm completely on board with you on that one. I just can't see any of the others doing it.
No, I can't. And it's just been such a meteoric rise. When we saw Quartararo come in last year, kind of come from obscurity and just grab that team and be like, right, this is mine now, let's go. And we saw that at the start of this year. But the final half of this season has just been like a meteoric rise for Morbidelli. That 1 win, 2 wins, 3 wins. Like, he's now there where you're looking at him as a threat. And I'm thinking about him as the threat for next week as well.
Absolutely. He's just gone about his business. You just sat at the back of the paddock. I just thought about it.
Yeah.
I just got calculated every single thing he needs to improve. I think Quartararo's pretty much gone into it, big guns, both feet into it without thinking a bit more.
Yeah.
And, he pushed it at the start. I think Morbidelli, yes, he pushed it, but he didn't risk it. And he just sat back, took his time, made a 2-year plan, and go, right, by this time next year, I'm going to be pushing up the order.
Yeah.
I'm going to be pushing up this rank. I'm going to know what I'm doing. I'm going to be on board with this. You're going to be doing this. You're going to be doing that. And we're going to be here. We're going to do this. And he has. Whereas I think Quartararo came into it and went, right, this is mine, like you say. Let's own this, throw that on, let's do this. Woof, straight into it. Had some cracking results, was probably one of the most consistent people in the paddock, and just didn't stop to think enough to take some notes and just calm down.
Yeah, I think that's certainly true.
And all of a sudden he's now like, shit, I should have sat down. I should have listened more in class.
Yeah. Fuck, I thought I could do it all without paying any attention. This is what happened to me. I nailed school, and then I went to college and assumed you didn't have to work at college either. And then I failed. So
I nailed school, but then I didn't really bother going to exams. I thought I'll be all right. Don't need that shit.
Okay, so I went to the exams at least, but yes, I feel like Quartararo kind of this year's been rough for him. Certainly, I'm sure next year won't be this bad. But
I don't think it'll be as bad.
With Marquez back, with Suzuki's on form, with Mir now world champion and race winner, was this Quartararo's chance?
Yes, absolutely, and he has got a mighty uphill struggle next year to get anywhere near that title. Far more than he had this year. This was his opportunity, and I think he flushed it.
Yes, I think you are 100% right about that. So I think that brings us to the end of the race chat.
I think we have.
Quite a poignant end there. I like that. Quartararo's going to struggle next year. Yeah, Finn. Beep. No.
God.
Let's just run through the predictions we made for the race last time out. I predicted a Binder win, a Rins second, and Mir third. And solidly, we can say I got it very wrong. At the same time, you predicted a Rins first, Nakagami second, Mir third. Also pretty wrong. Probably not far off with your Nakagami guess, to be fair, but as it turned out, he was not going to keep it rubber side down for you.
No, he stuffed it.
Yeah. So, predictions for next week, Steve. Portimao, we know nothing. We've got no data at all.
This is going to be the hardest one to call of all.
This entire year has been hard, mate. I don't think this is going to be any more difficult.
This is going to be the insane one. Portimao, undulating all over the place. Miller.
It's going big guns.
Yeah, Miller, Morbidelli, Nakagami.
You are convinced on the Nakagami front.
Yes, he's going to be on that podium.
Okay, so I'm going to go with Morbidelli, Mir and Rins because I just can't see anyone else. Right, so I meant to mention this at the top of the show when we already spoke about Formula One, but it completely slipped my mind. So this weekend we saw the MotoGP World Champion crowned. We also see the Formula One World Champion crowned.
We did.
Lewis Hamilton scored his 7th world title to match the great Michael Schumacher. He now has more wins, more pole positions, and an equal number of world titles.
Next year,
I'm convinced he's going to have 100 wins. He's going to have over 100 pole positions. Well, he'll have over 100 wins, over 100 pole positions, and he'll have 8 world titles. And he will be statistically the greatest Formula One driver of all time. Whether or not you like Formula One, and whether or not you like Lewis Hamilton, a lot of people don't. He is quite a divisive character, especially at the moment. But I love him all the more for it. He's like Marc Marquez. It's like the Marc Marquez Valentino Rossi argument. Who's the greatest? Honestly, you'll never get them both in their prime to find out. No. It's the same argument with Lewis Hamilton and Michael Schumacher, or Lewis Hamilton and Ayrton Senna, or Fangio. We're never going to know.
No, but you cannot deny his achievements.
Exactly.
And his pure racing talent. I didn't watch the race. I saw it afterwards that he'd won it.
Honestly, it might have been the best Formula One race of the year. If you get a chance to go back and watch it, because you'll watch it and you'll be like, fuck, Lewis Hamilton's in 6th. Jesus, how's he going to win this world? Oh, he's just won the race. It was weird. It was a really good race because the track just threw up terrible conditions. No one had their tyres sorted out. It was slippy. Everyone was crashing, spinning all over the place. It rained. It stopped raining. It rained a bit more. It was really good.
Nice. I might have to pull that one up.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. Right, we're running on. You've got a screaming child, so let's run quickly through the Fantasy League, and then we'll call it there. I wasn't going to talk about the Fantasy League, and then I just clicked on it to have a look, and I realised how tight it is at the top there. So
it has squished up.
It has indeed. We'll run through the normal 12 positions. There's only 12 of us playing. Awuzo is in 12th place, followed by Tuji in 11th. 47 Riders is in 10th. Mummy Racer in 9th. Alex Rinzo Antinoda in 8th place. Tim's Titans, aka me, in 7th. Caballero Cruzado in 6th. And Rapid Racing in 5th. Now, this top 4 is where it's tightening up, man. And I'm actually sort of enjoying watching the final scrap for this. Not as much as I enjoy watching the actual MotoGP, obviously. But it is fun to watch. And I'm sort of jealous of the 4 of you that are involved in this. So we have Big Al Racing in 4th place with 1,146 points.
Close. 3rd
place is Sassy Chassis Lassie with 1,148 points. Then there's you, Steve, in 2nd place with 1,150.5 points.
That's that 0.5 that's going to do it.
Yeah, and then 10 points ahead is Mission Now Win with 1,160.5 points.
Oh, it's tight. But 1st and 3rd still have a boost.
Yes, both Mission Now Win and Sassy Chassis Lassie have their boosts. So
that's
it's
very
time
tactical
for you folks to be using those, because this could be the one. It's all coming down to the wire on the most unpredictable circuit of the year.
It is. You see, Big Al, 120 points this week.
Yeah, that's a big score.
That is a big score. Now, I'm pretty sure, I'm going to have to go back to last week. I'm pretty sure he had a boost then. I think he might have used it. But don't quote me, because I could have been getting confused with Rapid Racing, who's also got one. So we will see. But I think I would put a prediction on now. It will be Mission Now winning 1st, Sassy Chassis Lassie in 2nd, me in 3rd, and Big Al Racing in 4th when we come to the end.
Fair. You're not convinced that you're going to be able to pull it out of the bag with an amazing prediction and just go for it?
Not unless these guys have got something different. Looking at the scores,
everyone's got a very similar lineup, haven't they?
Everyone's got a very similar lineup except Big Al.
Which is probably 2 Suzukis and at least 1 Yamaha.
Yeah, and probably pole. I would estimate pole in there. I would have thought. We will see. Yeah,
we will see, indeed. Right, anyway, you've got stuff to do, Steve. We've been boring our lovely listeners for a bit longer than usual today because we went off. This felt like a very old episode, Steve. We've often a lot of tangents today.
We've gone back to our old ways of just chatting.
Yeah, I think it's because we've both been drinking. I think that could be the
Probably.
problem. It's
You'll have
fine
to
when
ease
one of
up.
us drinks. When just one of us drinks, the other one can steer the show back in the right direction. But when we're both drinking, not a chance.
No hope. I mean, I'm on the however you pronounce this, little special pilsner.
Oh, nice.
I really like this stuff. I can feel a tangent coming on.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm drinking.
Oh, we've already been through my drink of choice. So thank you all very much for listening, guys. If you have anything you want to say to us, any questions, any feedback, any of that jazz, you can find us on...
We are For the Love of MotoGP, and you can find us on Instagram and Twitter, or find us on our Facebook page, or drop us an email at fortheloveofmotogp@gmail.com.
Good stuff. And I was going to say something else, and I honestly can't remember what it is. Oh, that's what it is. If you do like the show or you hate the show, do us a solid, leave us a review somewhere. We have just moved hosting. I've already spoken about this, so I'm not going to get into it too much, but more reviews would be good, please. So help us out where you can. That would be amazing, and we will speak to you all next week when the season is over. So have a good one. Stay safe. Speak to you soon.
Take care.
Music is by Andrew Greenwood. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.